My family's from Virginia.
My family's from Kenya.
My family's from Virginia.
My family's also from Virginia.
Hey. Have you guys ever heard of cyberbullying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, do you guys have any situations where you've dealt with cyberbullying or anybody that you know dealt with it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people have like different standards of like cyberbullying, especially like for women, because like their expectations on like social media is higher.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think when I go on Instagram and I see like girls that have got their bodies done and got all this fake stuff like makeup and really heavy makeup and hair and all of that, that can kind of diminish you and make you feel less than because they get so much attention just for having those things. And then when you don't have those things, now people are looking at you like you're supposed to have that, but you don't have to. I don't think you should have to. But people get bullied on social media a lot, especially girls, for them not being what people want them to be.
You mean the expectations of society?
Yeah, and people feel like they can just control how you're supposed to think, and I don't think that that's reasonable because that's not how the world works. Everybody has their own opinion, everybody has their own mind, and you should be able to express how you feel without being condemned for it. That's what I think.
Personally, my experience, I mean, I definitely understand what you guys are talking about when it comes to like expectations that other people expect you to uphold, but when it comes to me, I see it in different ways. Like I can see it from two girls that have an issue and they'll post about each other, and then they'll bring other people into their stuff, and I feel like that can also be a form of cyberbullying.
It is
because it's like, especially when two people have a problem, instead of talking out like adults, they'll post about the girl and be like, oh, well, she's ugly and she's this, she's that, and it'll cause other people to come in and say the same thing about that girl, and then it's all everybody just picking sides, getting up on one, getting up on the other, and I feel like that's what I've experienced or what I've seen personally with my own two eyes about cyberbullying, and I feel like that is also really hurtful because people can get really, really down and dirty with that stuff. Like,
and people go and they kind of project some of their feelings on social media, and that can cause cyberbullying, where they're online crying or saying that they're depressed about something, and then people are laughing about it in the comments. So how would that make you feel if you were in those shoes or if you were in that situation?
But I also at the same time feel like sometimes things just don't need to be taken to the internet. There's just certain things that you just shouldn't put out there for everybody. Like if you're having a bad experience, say for instance a family member passed away, people will post about it. And sometimes I guess they'll hope to get attention. Maybe sometimes they're doing it just to let everybody know, but they don't always get the reaction that they expect.
Yeah.
Because social media it's a public place.
Yes.
Everybody can see.
And I feel like it's been a hard line to be drawn now to differentiate between real and fake on the internet, because it's so much that's coming together. It's all up there together. So it's like you don't know what's real, you don't know what's fake, and then they got this AI stuff and all of this other weird stuff that they putting on the internet, making it easier for people to hide behind it and be able to say what they want to people and just be blatantly mean, and it's just not right. So what do you think?
Cyberbullying, you don't have to be talking about a person who's present to be bullying them. Like you could go off in a group chat, say something about them, and then they don't know about it, and then you have this group chat of people who's ganging up on you, and you don't know about it, and then when someone finally brings it up to you, you don't know what to think, because these random people who you don't really know, who you've maybe socialized with once or twice, are all here in this group chat saying bad things about you, and you don't know how to feel about yourself anymore.
And I think that's a form of cyberbullying that not many people talk about much, when it's just between a few peers. Because even if it's just in a group chat, I feel like it's still a form of cyberbullying. And if even a screenshot was to get out of this group chat, now this is the big thing that's blown up and could have been avoided if you would have just not had so much to say, negative things to say about someone and made them look bad, and now everybody's talking about them.
I've actually experienced that before. I've experienced it down to the point where I was walking in the hallway and a girl took a picture of me and I was off guard and she sent it around in that group chat and the screenshot of that group chat got out. It was actually pretty bad. People were posting it all over the place, but
yeah, it's a lot of things that I feel like ends up on the internet, especially with our generation now, that shouldn't, and it's very uncomfortable. And what if an adult comes across these things where there's some type of nudity involved, or this is a crime, like this is technically child pornography. So if when these things are posted, I don't think that these people are thinking about how this could affect a person's life. Like this is gonna be on the internet forever. Once it's on the internet, it's never fully deleted. It doesn't matter how much you try, how hard you try, it's never fully deleted. So I feel like a lot of people, especially with girls, they should think about what they post about other females or just people in general, because it could really, really make them look bad and stop them from having opportunities and stop them from being able to do things that they want to do, because of something that happened to them that they had no control of.
I genuinely think that's something that people forget about, like how things never get deleted. Because, for instance, these two girls at my school, they got into a fight with each other, and instead of keeping it between the two of them, they posted it on Instagram. And the fight happened outside of school. However, because they continued to post it, because they continued to try to get the light, the light from it, it got back to the school, and these girls ended up getting sent to an alternative school.
Right.
Because,
And people think just because you do something outside of school that they can't punish you for it, but they can. If it's a situation of cyberbullying involved, they could actually gain access to be able to go into your phone and check your phone and see what you've been doing, or they'll just like kind of go into it through another computer and figure out and log into your accounts and stuff to see what you've been doing, because cyberbullying is real. And even when we go to college, our colleges look at our social medias and they see what we post, and they see if we're really going to be a good candidate for their school. So people are doing things on the internet, not understanding that it could be very detrimental to your future and to what you may have planned or what somebody else may have planned, all because of you may be angry in this moment, or you may just feel like you want to post something in this moment, and now all of a sudden you can't do anything. And talk about because something may have happened to where it just wasn't a good situation.
And another thing is, like, people that post different stuff about people don't know other people's mental status and how they can affect them, and like where they're at with their mental status, because that could change somebody's life drastically just by saying a comment, because you don't know how high or low somebody's self-esteem is, and you don't know how that could cause depression or how much depression they could have, you know what I mean? So I feel like people don't understand the impact that it has on your mental health about cyberbullying. So I feel like people need to be more aware of that.
I fully agree with you. I think mental health is just as important as physical health. If you're not mentally stable, then there's a lot of things that aren't going to go right in life. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to fall off balance because you're not mentally there for it. So I think that when it comes to cyberbullying and the way that people kind of throw a blind eye to that, I think it's just kind of crazy, because if someone was to hurt your feelings and it hurts you for a long time, and it's certain triggers that you have, then you wouldn't want anybody to trigger you. And not even wanting to sit there and have an understanding for it, I feel like it's the worst thing in the world. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that our generation has. They want to cry out for help. They want to say, "Oh, I'm sad," blah, 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 but then go out and dish out the actual same energy that people would have treated them with. And I don't think that that's okay.
It's not.
Even if you are having issues. What do you think?
I think that you never do know someone's mental state. So when you go and say something, that'll mess with them. But then they always go out and do the same thing to other people, not realizing what they are.
And some people don't realize that when you say certain things to people, it sticks with them. And it's certain things that have been said to me that stuck with me since I was like in kindergarten. But I remember it because it made me feel a way, whether that was good or a bad way. So I know that if you say something to someone that really sticks with them for a long time, it could affect a lot of things that they do in life.
In their decisions.
Right, because they're so accustomed to, let's say someone is ashamed of the way their body looks. So they're accustomed to having to want to cover up and all that. And they lose weight and they're still doing the same thing. And then you have that one person that comes in and says, no, you're beautiful. You should wear and do whatever you would like to do. And that makes them come out of their shell and realize, well, wow, I was kind of hiding behind this wall for a long time because of what this one person said to me this one day. And it stuck with me my whole life and I didn't even realize it. So I think that's
True.
Okay.
Okay, so another experience I've kind of had with this was last year. 4 kids at my school got expelled because of a fight that happened outside of school. These 3 boys were picking on this other girl, and outside of school they had this Snapchat group chat, and they would say horrible things about her, like how they wanted to get to her, they would threaten her, they would threaten to hurt her, threaten to rape her, and they thought it would all get deleted, but when it came out, it happened, somebody took a picture of that group chat. And you know how Snapchat shows this person took a screenshot of chat. They were smarter. They took somebody else's phone and took pictures of their own phone and turned it all into the school. So those 3 boys got expelled. Like the police were involved. They had to like protect the girl. She had to take off school for a couple days. But they eventually got expelled. They went to court as they were tried as adults. They got restraining orders against her. And this girl like dropped out and transferred schools.
Oh my God. And I think that's a perfect example of how one simple incident can affect someone's life. They had to go through court, they had to go through legal issues, they had to move, she had to go to a different school. That's a lot of things that change in life because of this one situation. And I think that's a good way to go into the conversation about how can you help people if they are being cyberbullied or if there is an issue that they're having. I feel like if you do see something happening, tell somebody. Tell a trusted adult, tell the police if it's that detrimental, like tell somebody that'll be able to help the situation. It's never good to sit around and watch someone suffer or go through something if you can help in any kind of way, whether that's little help or big help. You don't have to be a big superhero, but if you can help in any way, I feel like that's what you should do. I think that's the best way to move.
And it's also a good thing to shut off your social media for a couple days and take a break.
Yeah.
Like especially for stuff like that. Like if you become overwhelmed and stuff, you can deactivate your account for a couple of days, take a step back, and just focus on yourself. Because I feel like another thing is people get too engulfed in social media and what people say that it starts affecting their life outside of social media.
Right.
And their decisions and what they do and how they carry themselves. So I feel like that could be a good way to, distance yourself.
I think that's a good thing.
I feel like one thing that people, I'm not gonna say fail to realize, but kind of push to the back of their minds is how that person may react. Because I feel like there are definitely some times where I've had friends who've been in situations and I wanted to help them and I did. However, not everybody wants that help. And when they don't want that help, they can project on you in a way. Because I've definitely lost friends for trying to help them. For example, I had a friend that was definitely being cyberbullied to the point where she was suicidal, and I didn't want to lose her, so I told her mom. And her mom took away her phone. Well, not took away her phone, but took away the social media. Made sure she stayed home, got some rest. But I guess she kind of took that as me snitching on her. So she didn't want to be my friend anymore.
But in certain situations like that, it's a lot of times where when you're going through something, you kind of try to protect whoever it is or whatever it is that's bothering you or that's making you feel away. You kind of try to make it, try to polish it up to make it sound good. When you know, and everybody else around you knows that that's not a good situation that you should be in. But usually, eventually they come around. They just, in the moment, they feel like everybody and everything is against them, so they're kind of always gonna have their guard up. So you kind of have to take her reaction with a grain of salt because it could have been that. It might have been something else that was kind of bothering her, but she didn't want to tell you, or she didn't really want anybody to know. She kind of wanted to keep it to herself. But I feel like what you did was the proper thing to do, because that could have affected her safety. You don't know what these people on the internet are into. They like to hack into phones and do all types of stuff. So you don't know what these people are into, and telling her mom was the right decision. So I don't think that you were wrong in that situation.
I agree that it was the right decision. I just want anybody and everybody to know that before they do something like that, know that that person may project, know that that person may not want to be your friend anymore. However, just because they say they're not going to be your friend anymore, their health and their safety is way more important than you talking to them on a regular basis.
And if that's your friend, and if that's your friend, how you say it's your friend, then no matter how they may come off to you, you're always gonna love them the same, and you're always gonna look out for them the same. Because if that's truly your friend, if that's truly someone you care for, through thick and thin, you're gonna always stick by them.
Yeah, no do what's in their best interest.
Right. And do what you can do to help them in whatever it is that they're going through.
One of my close friends, she was going through a tough time with her ex-boyfriend, and he was like putting all her business on social media, and she was already had mental health issues before. Like, she's already been suicidal before, and she didn't like know who to talk to, so she had came to me, and we had went to like, I had told her we can go like to a guidance counselor, so we had went to a guidance counselor, and she had wrote a statement and stuff. But later that day, I found out that her mom took her to the mental hospital because like he just kept putting all her business out there, and she didn't know how to react. So I suggested that she like, you know, delete Instagram, delete TikTok, delete all her social medias until this all blows over, until she like feels better, has some type of peace of mind. And I just like felt like I wish I could have done more to help her.
Okay. But what more do you think you could have done?
Like, maybe like if I would have like seen it, or like seen the signs that she was like suicidal, I could have probably like checked up on her more, or you know, like make sure she was like her mental status was okay, and like she was doing stuff other than staying in the house in her bed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, signs of depression and suicide. Like, I didn't see these signs before, so I wish I would have seen them.
Yeah, and I feel like you shouldn't. Don't beat yourself up about that, because it's no way that you could have known if you didn't see the signs, or if that was just simply your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's your friend, of course, every time your friend talks to you, they're gonna want to be bubbly, they're gonna want to laugh and joke and play with you. But behind closed doors, they don't really know what's going on in your life unless you tell them. So it's not like it's anything you really could have done about that. But I think that you made the right decision with telling her to go to a guidance counselor, because some people with parents, the parents could be the trigger. So you can't always tell people to go to their parents. Sometimes other outlets is the best decision.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes like a trusted adult or like a female could be very beneficial, because they may have experienced something like that themselves, and could give like feedback or like advice on what to do and how to carry yourself and like how to handle the situation. So I feel like going to like an older adult could be very beneficial sometimes, more than going to your friends.
And going to a older female would definitely probably be the best decision, because it's something about females that just make you comfortable.
Yeah.
And especially when they can relate to you, they know what it is that you're going through. They understand what it is that you're trying to say if you can't really get it off. It's just so much more of a connection than if I was to have a male therapist or a male counselor. In my opinion, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, I get that.
I also feel like sometimes the experience that the person is having when they go to that adult female, it could come from males. They could have male trauma in any way. And I feel like going to a female could actually bring some comfort to them.
Yeah.
because not only that, and maybe some people don't have moms, but even when you do have a mom, a lot of people do feel comfortability in mother figures, and I feel like women are nurturing in that aspect. So when you go to them, not only will they, not because they sympathize, because they may not have been through the same thing, but they can empathize with you.
Right.
They understand your feelings. They can be your shoulder to cry on no matter what. Because when you do have that nurturing aspect of them, so yeah, that's also something.
Yeah.
And going off of the boyfriend thing, some people just aren't mature enough for social media. The first reaction for like when they get mad is, oh, I'm gonna go post about it. I'm gonna go make this person look bad to make me look better. And for that reason, you cause insecurities, you cause drama, you cause bad thoughts about yourself, and they don't care, which makes them too immature for social media.
And I feel like some people just don't understand the weight that certain things hold. When you have random older men and you could be 13 and you have random older people contacting you, texting you, saying that they want to take you out and they want to meet you, that can make you uncomfortable. And your parents only want you to stay away from it because they just don't want nothing to happen to you. They want you to stay safe. They want to make sure they can lay eyes on you and know what you're doing all the time and know what's going on with you all the time. But it's not that they don't want you to have fun. It's just simply for safety. It's so many things going on in the world to where you wouldn't even want to be on social media. I mean, it's nothing that good about it. I mean, they're not anymore. There were good things about it. It was a positive place at one point, but just like anything else, when you let certain people and entities come into certain things, it kind of just spoils it. And now you got people that can't stay off their phones in school, and they're getting mad with the teachers because the teachers are telling them to get off their phones because they want to scroll on TikTok. And I think that's not educational at all. So now they're implementing a ban on phones in school, and it's supposed to be implemented in January. And all of that is because of social media, because people cannot stay on their phones. They're glued to their phones 24/7. So I think that's something that comes with maturity and knowing how to govern yourself with certain things. And I think that with that information, people should take that into consideration when allowing their children to have social media and allowing anybody that they're taking care of to be in that type of situation, because you don't know what could happen or who could contact you or who could come across your page. It's impossible to know.
Yeah. Speaking of governing yourself, so when it comes to governing yourself, what's your thoughts on private accounts or letting people accepting people into your account, or you looking at other people's accounts?
I think that private accounts are probably the safest option, only because you can regulate who comes in and out of your account. You can regulate who sees your page and who sees what you're doing. And you know what I'm saying? You can go and check their pages first before you allow them to come and check yours. And I think that's probably the best decision to make. Having a public account isn't bad necessarily, because those same people could still come across, but with a private account, you could regulate it and you could be like, well, Mom, this looks a little suspicious. What do you think about this? And I think that would be the best decision, especially with younger people. They should definitely have private accounts.
Yeah, for me, with my private account, I don't accept nobody unless I know you personally.
Right, as you should.
So if I don't know you personally on my private account, then
because there's so many scams, it's so many loopholes,
and now it'll be like you could accept somebody into your private account that you know personally. Their account can get hacked,
right?
And then they can hack your account from their hacked account,
right? And you think it's them, and it's not.
Exactly.
So it's so many things that you have to look out for when dealing with social media. Social media used to just be a place where you posted pictures and you were just showing your life and it was just your portfolio.
Yeah.
But now it's become this thing where you see news, you see good things, you see bad things, you see horrible things, you see all types of things. You see people, you literally can watch somebody's character get crushed on the internet in a matter of a day. 24 hours, you can see somebody get totally crushed on the internet.
With me, I know that I deactivate my account like probably once every 2 months for about like a couple days to like give myself a break from social media. I rarely be on TikTok, girl. So like the social media stuff, I don't really post either. So like the social media stuff, I used to get really engulfed in it, and then when I stepped back to look at like who my friends were and who was in my account, like I just stopped doing it altogether because I don't want the toxicity that comes with social media in my life.
Yeah.
Like in the back of my mind.
And I think it's taken away from a lot of people's childhoods. I think that's something that not too many people really elaborate on, but they say, oh yeah, these kids are stuck in their phones. Well, no, I feel like you also have parents that throw their kids an iPad and say, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I feel like that is a crazy thing to do. And because they say you don't go outside, well, it's not safe outside. So outside is not an option unless you're right in front of the yard.
Because I know I stay in the house.
So now we have to find indoor activities. Well, everybody has a phone. Even parents are glued to their phones sometimes, scrolling on Facebook. So it's like, it's gotten everybody in a way, but it's affected us the most because we kind of grew with the technology. So it's like we've always had it. It was a certain point in life where we didn't have it for a little bit, but most of our lives we had some type of technology.
I was a little younger.
Right.
It kind of messes up a child's character development because they have like declining social skills because now, back when they were kids, they didn't go out with their friends. They would just FaceTime them in their bedrooms or play video games with them rather than going out and doing actual social activities.
And I learned going out with people my age, I've learned that we go out and we all just sit there on our phones. But this is something I could have did at home. You know what I'm saying? So why would I want to come out and supposed to be enjoying my time with my friends and we're all sitting on our phones? I feel like we should try to find a way to get people away from the phones sometimes, and get them more to coming back together as people. Because people, even before COVID, people interacted totally different. It was so different. Now you get people in a room and it's just like,
they don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do. Like,
don't know who to talk to.
Yeah, and I think human interaction was so much better before the whole COVID situation, because during COVID, a lot more technology things were developed and introduced. So it made it easier for people to not have to do certain things and let the computer do